Trump has been absolutely stalwart. That was his number one issue. He's actually handled immigration so well that it dropped out of the top 4 or 5 issues for Americans. It was the number 1 or number 2 issue in every poll for Americans during the 2024 election cycle. Trump comes in and literally on the first day, everything gets fixed because he says, we're going to enforce the border. Don't come here. And people stop coming here. Well, yesterday, Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, announced that President Trump is going to be signing an EO cracking down on illegal immigration.
Later this afternoon, President Trump will sign an executive order on law and order and another executive order on sanctuary cities. The first EO will strengthen and unleash America's law enforcement to pursue criminals and protect innocent citizens. The second EO is centered around protecting American communities from criminal aliens, and it will direct the Attorney General and Secretary of Homeland Security to publish a list of state and local jurisdictions that obstruct the enforcement of federal immigration laws.
Sanctuary cities actually help fight crime because it allows undocumented/illegal immigrants to more easily report crime without the fear of being deported. So it's interesting that she didn't mention that.
Okay, so all of that is quite good. He signed 3 executive orders, including one that instructed Pam Bondi and the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, to pursue all necessary legal remedies and enforcement measures against so-called sanctuary cities. Again, that is correct. If you have, so here's the deal. Local law enforcement cannot be militarized by the federal government under the Posse Comitatus Act to actually enforce federal law. That is not a thing. However, obstruction of justice, which is a thing that has been happening in these sanctuary cities, where ICE goes in and you have local law enforcement actively obstructing, getting in the way, declaring their sanctuary cities and going out of their way to sort of thwart federal law, that is something that the federal government should be cracking down on. Another one of these executive orders aims to bolster legal resources to police officers accused of wrongdoing. The third seeks to enforce existing laws requiring professional truck drivers to be proficient in English, according to the New York Times. Now, President Trump, of course, has also been unleashing ICE to actually go after illegal immigration wherever they find it in significant numbers. One of the big sort of splashy stories that happened over the weekend is U.S. federal agents, according to CNN, early Sunday raided what authorities described as an underground nightclub in Colorado Springs.
Okay, so here's the issue. Yes, he's unleashing ICE. Yes, they're going after illegal immigration wherever they find it. But isn't there something else that we have to give some sort of regard to? And the thing known as the Constitution, the thing you learned about in law school, Ben Shapiro, you know, you pretend to care about that a lot when it comes to certain issues, particularly economics. But yet this issue is one where we get to just treat the Constitution as a sideshow just because you're so obsessed with getting quick, efficient remedies on the issue of illegal immigration. Why is that? Why is that? Stop and evaluate why. Do you just view some issues as, you know, oh, they're special, they're immune from constitutional scrutiny? This is one of those issues where it's actually more night and day, where he's violating due process. There's a lot of ambiguity in the Constitution, but one thing in which there's no ambiguity is whether or not there is due process. And undocumented immigrants get due process too. All Americans, all people within America's borders, they get due process. You can't just deport them. You can't send them to El Salvadorian labor camps, which is what Trump's doing, and which is something that I noticed Shapiro did not mention at all here. So even granting that illegal immigration may be a serious issue and that it was a serious issue in the 2024 election, you've got to pay some more attention to the constitutional aspect of things if you want people to take your credentials as a constitutional conservative seriously, Ben. So I'm sorry, I don't buy this, oh, he's so great on immigration thing. It seems they're being very selective in how they praise his handling of immigration. They're being selective, they're ignoring all the issues relating to proper authority under the Constitution, proper due process under the Constitution, and yeah, it's ridiculous, it's hypocritical. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, or subscribe to this channel. This has been the Morris the Merrier. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you in my next video.